Hello and welcome along to another episode of Best with Tech. We're back in the Anet A8 rebuild project and we're now up to part 3. This is where we put together the Z-axis assembly. Now again, as with the previous videos, I'm not going to record the whole build process. This has been done so many times on Prusa builds now. Just have a quick look on YouTube, there's plenty out there. As far as the build process instructions go, just go to Prusa's 3D site. There's brilliant build manuals on there. So yeah, we don't need to flog a horse, it's been done so many times. I'll just stop and show any changes that occur where we have to tweak settings for the integrating of the parts from the Anet. So yes, Z-axis assembly. This is where we finally integrate all of the parts we've built and it actually starts looking like a printer. So here we go, let's get building. Well, we didn't get far with this one before we ran into the first hurdle. Trapezoidal nuts. If we lift this one up, take a look, we will see that this is way undersized. Far too small, moves around all over the place. And the holes don't line up, it's nowhere near big enough to fit into the screws in the fitting. So by default, we're not going to be using them. Now I had a quick look on Thingiverse and there's a few adapters out there, different types. This one, first of all, effectively what we're doing is we have to bolt this plate in place, and then we have to then effectively and then at the same time screw this plate into there, but it ends up, we've got two recessed screws there which kind of lead into that bit, but it means on this side you're going to have 4 screws going back into this, and effectively this whole thing is going to be sitting on the 4 screw heads on that, which isn't the best solution. So I kept looking to see what else there was. There's another variation on this I found which uses small nuts underneath, which is a more elegant solution. Then found this part on there which works a lot nicer, keeps it nicely centered in the middle. But again, to get these to fit you need to basically cut down or Dremel out or file down 2 edges so you can put the screws further out to line them up with the holes in the original Prusa part. Now again, at least this will then keep it nice and centered in the hole, so it's not going to move around, it's going to be dead centered. So while I was looking around to see what other options there were, I came across another one, and someone looking at the same issue has decided to design for themselves the actual trapezoidal nut that Prusa uses. So he's designed this from scratch. He's designed it to be printed using nylon bridge filament. But looking through the comments, someone's also said on there they've printed it with PLA and it's working great. So here we go. I've printed these out in PLA. And these are just drop-in replacements that will just screw in direct in the same way that the original Prusa parts do. Now the Prusa ones are actually, they're still plastic, they're Dolly. Now in theory you could print them yourself out the same stuff, it's just POM filament. And you can get these, you know, you probably a sample, if you request a sample of the filament, a sample's easily going to be enough to print 2 of these, but I wouldn't. POM filament is evil, nasty stuff. The fumes it produces are quite literally lethal. By all means, if you've got the facility and you can print these in POM, go ahead. But unless you've got a full industrial ventilated, extractor ventilation system in place, do not use POM filament. This stuff is just nasty. But no, he actually has designed this file. He's uploaded onto Thingiverse. I'll include the links on this because this is a brilliant file. It's pre-designed to allow for the shrinkage and everything from printing with nylon. He designed it to use with the nylon bridge filament. So if anyone wants to get these, including just a replacement for existing Prusa parts, because it's just a drop-in part. So there we go. These just drop in, screw in as the normal instructions, and then we carry on as per normal. So there we go. First hurdle gotten over with. It also eliminates these altogether, which means you get rid of the backlash, because these really are nasty and they've got quite a bit of wobble on them. So get them out of the way. So yes, that'll be the next step, will be just to use these 2. Now obviously, unless you've got your printer directly zeroed in for dimensions, you're not going to get a perfect fit, so you might have to mess around. I think I had to do 2 or 3 prints before I could get the scaling just exactly right to install on these, to install on the threaded rod. It works fine. As we can see with these threaded rods, they're definitely too tall. I shall leave them for now and see how they print on these flexible bearing, on flexible shaft joiners, and see how it works. If the print quality is still rubbish, I might look at replacing them with integrated lead screws, because you can buy them on there. You can get them from AliExpress now for not a lot of money, probably about £30 for a pair. So I shall see how they go. If they work fine, I'll chop them down so it looks nice later on. But for now, that will do. So there we go. Onwards and upwards. Moving on. Okay, so the frame's put together, the Z-axis is finished. We are ready to put the belt on. And here we have a problem. The A8 belt, if I zoom in and get it close, is literally too thick when the two sides are squished together to fit. It's literally too thick. Hang on, if I bring this forward. The standard A8 belt is too thick to fit in the groove on the mechanism. It's just slightly too thick. So we throw away the plastic belt. We're going to have to use some real belt anyway. I've got some laying around, so it's not a problem. Got some normal rubber belt. This stuff fits fine. So there we go. Just an update. A8 plastic belt does not fit. Oh well. And we carry on. Okay, so here we are at the end of the Z-axis assembly. The printer's beginning to look like a printer now. No heat bed, no extruder, no power supply, no electronics. Next step will be the extruder. But other than that, apart from the trapezoidal nuts that we ignored and used our nice self-printed ones, and we've had to replace the belt because the A8 belt was just too thick, wouldn't fit in the back. We're there. Yeah. Other than that, it's A8 parts. You know, it's a shame we have. You can't see; it's going out of shot. I've probably got about 2.5 inches of threaded rod sticking up the top from our Z-axes, but I can trim that. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, it looks like we're ready to move on. It's pretty straightforward. Apart from the belt and apart from the trapezoidal nuts, everything else was straightforward and easy to go. So, yeah, it's beginning to look like a printer now. So there we go. If you've got any questions, want to ask anything else or suggestions, things I've messed up, please let me know. Otherwise, subscribe and tick the bell to be notified of when we get the next part, which I said will be the extruder. So, other than that, I shall see you then. Goodbye.